get absorbed in, and you are Sonic.
Hey everybody, I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I want to welcome you back to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. Joining me are my co-hosts, Tyler Reed.
Hey, yeah, can I get a number 3 with extra large fry, please, and a chocolate milkshake?
And Sean Evans.
I'll have what he's having.
Well, Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
This week's challenge was submitted by music maven Catherine DiMartino. Catherine challenged us to find the perfect song to listen to while you're putting a food order or waiting for your food.
This one kind of threw me for a loop at first because I wasn't really sure what sort of environment we were in waiting for our food order, because that's really going to determine the type of music you hear. You know, if you're at a fancy sit-down restaurant, you're not going to hear the same thing as if you ordered a sandwich at your local bodega, which is more the direction I went.
I didn't even think we were going to be at a restaurant. I just assumed I was going to be waiting for a fast casual food order to be made. I was waiting a quick wait, no more than a couple minutes.
That's where I ultimately landed, because I think you don't really wait at a nice restaurant because you're having conversation and enjoying the ambiance. Whereas you're right, Sean, at a fast casual situation, there is that kind of awkward standing around waiting for your number to be called or whatever.
Right.
And I feel that's much more of a listening to music occasion.
I feel I would walk in and it was more if I was waiting online and this song came on, it would set the mood. More so than oh my god, I'm waiting, I'm going to pick this song. Haha. Definitely, if this song came on, I'd be yes, this is such a good song right now.
So Sean's getting his burrito at Chipotle, and this is the song he wants to have play on the radio.
Waiting for my burger at Shake Shack.
Yeah, that brings up an interesting point. What is the fast casual or otherwise environment that you pictured?
For some reason, I went to Panera or Chipotle, like I had previously mentioned. I feel those are the only 2 real places that I've really gone to in recent memory. Other than that, usually I've been getting Indian food, and which is you kind of put in the order and then you show up eventually and they might have it ready, which is more of a kind of a takeout kind of situation, not a waiting in line for food kind of situation. So I was imagining like a fast casual place, and I would be listening to the song while I was kind of walking in, kind of putting my order in, and then waiting for my food.
And I also thought Chipotle, and I guess the other place that I wait around at for food there's a deli, about a half mile from where I work that I go to. It's not really a deli; it's a little restaurant maybe, but they're only open for lunch, if that makes sense. So you can go in there and get grilled sandwiches and stuff like that. Maybe that would be the other place, but then.
Is it?
Go ahead.
I was just to say it's it's a place in a business district where they have very, very limited opportunities where they're open and just not even open on weekends.
Yes, basically, yeah. There's a bunch of them around, little cafes is what they call themselves, but they're more steak and shakes without the waiters. It's kind of what they are. Get all kinds of sandwiches.
Yeah, that's the environment that I was envisioning as well, because the university that I work for is right in the heart of downtown Atlanta, and so it's a similar situation, but because we're near all of the government buildings and a bunch of major businesses, we do have kind of a diverse array of restaurants that are all set up the same way. It's the first floor storefront of a historic apartment building, and you go in and you wait in line and you order and pay, and then they either yell out a number or they give you a number to put on your table. It's that kind of vibe, but they're all only open for lunch, and they basically all do variations on the same one thing. So there's the poke bowls place, the pizza place, the gyro place. I don't know their names. I just know them based on the one thing that they all make.
Yeah.
The Pizza Gyro poke place that combines them all together into a giant, falafel.
Ours is all the same place. It just depends on what you want. So everybody has a ham and cheese sandwich, but some place has the better ham and cheese sandwich. Or the one I go to has a hot bar. So they have they usually have a few trays of Italian food and a few trays of like Asian food, and then they'll have like chicken and fries on one side, and then you can go up to the counter and get like any kind of gyro that you could possibly think of, or grilled cheese or burgers or something. The next place has the same thing, but some of them don't have as much seating. So that's the one I go to actually just got remodeled recently, so it's kind of nice to sit in there. But it used to be kind of like going into like an 80s under a building diner where everything was like soft Easter colors.
I know exactly
it
what
looked like
you're
a
talking
doctor's
about.
office, except it was the complete reverse.
See, all of the restaurants that I go to, that whole like block of Broad Street in downtown Atlanta is closed off, and they just put out chairs and tables on it. Yeah, it's really kind of cool. And so everybody from the surrounding buildings comes down and either brings packed lunches or goes into one of these little restaurants and like eats at the tables on the street.
That's buck wild, but I'm 100% in.
Yeah, I'll find a picture for the show notes, or I'll take one tomorrow when I'm down there for lunch. Were we all picking songs that we felt like would play in these places? Because that was my approach. I was like, what song do I think would be on the crappy stereo in my local deli?
No.
My song would literally never play in any place I've ever been in at any point ever. So I just chose a song that I would have playing with my AirPods on.
Yep, I said headphones too.
Interesting.
There always has to be one. This week it's you.
See, I wanted to pick a Bodega song.
A Bodega song?
I don't have much experience with... I feel like my experience is very different from both of yours because I just work in food service. So it's like, well, my lunch is the food that I already eat, and I basically work at a bodega in regards to the food that's prepared. So it's like, yeah, well, I guess I'm going to make a sandwich.
But you get to pick the Bodega songs.
That's true.
You're the Bodega DJ. You are what you play.
That's unfair. See, that's why, isn't it weird that he's like, oh, none of these would ever play, but he's in charge of the music at his bodega sometimes.
Let me be clear. I am never in charge of the music ever. I have to be the shift leader. Oh.
That sounds like a privilege the shift leader should get.
Yeah, right?
So, but typically it's ABBA radio,
Okay, so that's inoffensive to you. Next.
like Blink 182 radio.
Also not offensive to you. Next. Tell me how you're the victim of where you work now.
I'm not the victim at all. I'm just saying that my song would not play in any of those locations.
Because you're saying that like you're victimized at where you work, but you're not.
No, well, if I was trying to sound like a victim, I apologize. That was not my intent. I'm just saying, once my song is revealed, you will understand very clearly why no one would play this on purpose.
Well, that right there is a beautiful segue.
You make it sound like it's penance. Go ahead, Tyler. Lacerate our ears with this supposedly unlistenable pick.
Oh my god, that's not the exact words I was trying to say. Cafe del Madrid by Yitere Rimdin Danscola. Taylor and I spent like 10 minutes before this podcast started just searching out how to say any of this. Basically, Yitere Rimdin Danscola is a Norwegian dance duo within the deep house, space disco, new disco genre. I believe I've mentioned the Spotify playlist Space Disco before, but I found this from there. And it's just always been kind of like a real earworm for me because I think it creates such a mood. It's really nothing I've ever heard before because it's got like a dance beat. It's just kind of chill. It's got the what's that? I'm trying to think of like the accessory like percussion instruments in the background. Maracas, is that what they are? I think the maracas. There's a lot of like subtle instrumentation back there in addition to like the very rhythmic synths. It just kind of puts you at ease. And I think I chose this song because there's obviously no words in it, and you can kind of have it playing, and you can talk to someone, you can have a conversation, and you can have your headphones on, and then have a pretty good chance of being able to hear someone calling out your name or your order number. And just kind of while you're sitting there waiting for your food to come out, you get to groove a little bit. And I intentionally chose a song that I didn't want to get too amped on. I wasn't going to choose like a banger. Because really, I don't want to be, I have no problem embarrassing myself, but I don't want to, I don't want to start dancing too much when I'm just waiting, like for my food, because I don't want a cute lady being like, "What are you doing?"
I think she'd be
like
more attracted by your prowess,
your mating
yeah,
dance.
Exactly.
By my
You got to
weird
be
dad
ready at
dancing,
any
that's
moment.
correct.
And I think that shows like a bold and bold openness. That's just quintessentially you.
You're right, Sean. I do think I have positive characteristics. Thank you.
I'm not gonna give you a plug right now, but if you're somebody out there who's looking for somebody with some positive characteristics and a car, do I have
Whoa.
the person for you?
The bar couldn't be lower, folks.
No, I really like this song. I find it very soothing, but also enveloping. Like, it's inoffensive, but interesting, which is a really fine line to walk, I think. Like, it's going places and it's doing things, and it maintains my attention throughout the 6.5 minute runtime, which is admittedly pretty long. It's also not aggressive. It's not, like you said, it's not a banger. It just kind of floats along in the background. I could totally see you just kind of chilling to this while you're waiting on your fancy latte and breakfast sandwich to be made. Like, that's kind of the vibe I get from this. It's like a breakfast or brunch waiting situation. It's a little chill, which I like. It also has a lot of really interesting synth textures, a lot of stereo panning in the synths, which makes it really good for headphones. Yeah, this is really fun. I like this.
I also agree. I feel like if Kevin Parker was looking for a new Tame Impala inspiration, which he's not anymore because I'm pretty sure his album is done, but this would be a really good place to go. Because this was inspiring. That's what I thought about when I heard it. I was like, I don't know if I like this. But then I thought more about Tame Impala, and I was like, this is pretty good. I like this. What did you call it? Deep Space Dance Floor? Is that what it is?
No, but I'll accept that as an answer.
Still, though, not bad. But I gotta say, like I said before, and I'll say it again, 6.5 minutes is way too long.
There's a lot of buildup. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, and it's like a lot, like too much.
I would argue I want it to be longer, and I just want it to keep playing.
That's called repeat.
No, you're right.
It does end pretty abruptly.
That's fair. I'm sure.
Like, it just kind of stops.
Yeah, I imagine played live, they probably just go for however long.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a song that fades off, right? You're like, well, we'll just keep doing the same thing until we're done.
I just want to get on record that the translated name of this song is Cafe of the Nightmare.
Nice.
And their band name translated is Outer Space Dance School.
Outer Space Dance School.
Which is awesome.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and just to kind of top off the conversation, I think I've brought up this playlist before, but I think what I found that I enjoyed so much about this is that, like Taylor's saying, is that it is in some ways inoffensive, but it's not inoffensive in a way that is like unappealing. Like, it's the opposite of like like harder, better, faster, stronger is very offensive. It's very aggressive. It's very in your face. Lots of repetition, but it's sort of like it's like jabbing at you. This has the same kind of intent, but it's much duller, much smoother. So it's more soothing. It's much more it's much more relaxing. I think it has a different kind of intent, and it just feels like a kind of sound I've never really heard before, and I was just so enthralled to be smoothed out, like like I've never been like, yes, chill, it's not really like it's something I feel like I actively seek out all the time.
It's so smooth, just like the ocean under the moon. So longtime listeners of No Repeat will probably know by now that the way we support this show and keep the lights on is a Patreon. We have a Patreon at patreon.com/No Repeat Podcast. And that's where our fabulous listeners throw a little bit of cash our way to make the show possible, and they get cool stuff out of it. So any donation over $1 a month makes you an official friend of the show, which gets you special treatment when you're submitting challenges, but it also gets you access to our monthly after show, Billie Joe Armstrong's Middle School Notebook, where we break down the songs that we picked and then pick the challenges for the next month. We're about to record a new Billie Joe Armstrong episode, and it's going to be really good this month. We had a lot of really cool songs to talk about. But Tyler, you've been in charge of our $5 donors. Can you talk a little bit about what you've got in the works for them?
That's right. If you give us $5 or more a month, you get access to our bonus episodes and special treatment with submitting challenges, and you get a limited edition risograph printed poster. Some original art made by me. Once we kind of run through the initial run of them, we'll print more. Different designs. So
when can people expect to see their posters, Tyler?
The order's been submitted. I've paid for the posters. They're at the printers, and hopefully they should be receiving them soon. So I'll be sending them out. If you're local, feel free to connect with me, and we can meet up and we can have them hand delivered. Otherwise, we can go through the Patreon system, and you can submit your address and we can get it shipped out to you.
And then Sean is in charge this quarter of our special surprise for our Super Deluxe Edition podcast pals who give us $10 or more a month. Sean, without revealing the surprise, can you talk a little bit about how these rewards work?
Yeah. So, like Taylor said, at this $10 a month level, you get the poster, you get the priority, and you also get a special gift on your third month, every third month, which is something either personally handmade or something found or something that's cool and unique that's for you, that only you get because you are that cool. And I wish I could say it. I was going to say it, but Taylor said don't say it. So that's too bad. But Ivan, this weekend, it'll be in the mail for you. So get ready.
So if you want to help us out and get some cool stuff out of it, you can check that out. There will be links down in the show notes, patreon.com/no repeat pod. And thanks so much. Back to the show. All right, so who's going second this week?
I'll go second.
All right, Sean, what you got?
So this week, for my Waiting for Food song, I chose Go by the Black Keys. So like I said, when I was talking about the song and how I was listening to it, I was waiting in like a Chipotle establishment for a sandwich or something. Urban food log, as we used to call it. And I was just thinking of like a fun little song that was quick. I would get my food preferably probably like right in the middle of it. So I'd be walking out on a chorus, on like a Happy Giddy chorus, which this song definitely has. And that's why I really like it. And I don't think I've done like an Akron shout out yet. And the Black Keys are like my adopted city's native sons. So what can I say? Go Black Keys.
They're America's sweethearts.
They're America's sweethearts.
You know, I love the Black Keys. I think Sean and I have this mutual love of the Black Keys. We kind of found them around the same time. But this new Black Keys, I was really nervous. They've been gone for a while. I was like, do they still got it? Is it still going to be good? This is the second single off the new album, and I love both of them. They're both great. It's exactly what I wanted out of the Black Keys. It's just honest to goodness rock and roll. It's a little bluesy. It's got a catchy chorus, really aggressive drumming from Patrick Carney. Like, it's just perfect. I love Dan Auerbach's choruses here. Like, he's one of the only rock and roll frontmen who can write a chorus around a single word and make it catchy. Like, he's just so good at, like...
It really is a gift, isn't it?
Yeah, he just boils everything down to its essence in such a cool way that I totally love. This music video is also very funny. and I enjoy seeing the slightly aged Black Keys still rocking out. It gives me hope for the rock and roll future.
I'm really glad the Black Keys are on this playlist. They're a band that I feel like go really well onto a playlist, but whenever I've tried to listen to like one of their full albums, I feel like I kind of trail off a little bit.
That's fair.
I like this song. I think I need to give it a few more listens.
The first time that I listened to this song, I wasn't into it that much, but after a couple listens, and then I listened to it on the way to work today and the way back home from work today, and I think I've watched the music video a couple times now because I think it's absolutely hilarious. And so,
I mean, I'm really on the record as being a real big dummy and being like, oh, I don't like this band or I don't like this song. And then like months later, turn like a complete 360 and just be like, oh, no, this is great. As per our last episode. Our last episode was Gaslight Anthem, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't want to put my flag into the sand, like I don't want to make any harsh statements, but I do think this is a great song to wait for food to.
aww.
And I would expect to hear this at a place that I would wait for food at. Or if there's like a barbecue, we got some I mean, do people even use radios? Do people even use boom boxes anymore? I don't know.
Now you have home stereos.
The Bluetooth speaker is the modern boombox.
And I feel like the Black Keys probably make it on everyone's like summer grill out list. At least one.
I think so.
Yeah. That being said, like I said, I don't know how I feel about this specific song matching up. Like, is this the best Black Keys song?
Oh, let's not go there. That's another show.
Right.
We could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah. So I just want to be clear that I think we all can also agree that this is not the best Black Keys song, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Best line. You are the Black Keys, goddammit. You're America's sweethearts.
All right, well, that just leaves me. And my pick this week is Bigger Boys and Stolen Sweethearts by Arctic Monkeys.
Wishing that you'd made the most of her when she was there. They've got engaged, there's no intention of a wedding. He's pinch your bird and he'd probably kick your head in. Bigger boys and stolen sweethearts, so you're better off without her anyway. You said you wasn't sad to see her go. Yeah, but I know you were though. Now you don't know what she's up to. You can only assume when she's not on the front.
I've been on an internet nostalgia trip this past week. I was invited on the White Noise podcast to talk about the early days of social media. And I was remembering that Arctic Monkeys were the first band I found from the internet. And this song was on their first demo. And I was like revisiting that demo and thinking like, there are a lot of songs on this that are really fun. And they were kind of like a wholly different band at the time. They were much younger, and that really shows on this particular song. This song sonically feels like you would hear it on a crappy bodega stereo. Like, it's got a simple vocal melody, that really great lead guitar line that just kind of lilts along in the background. And, the rhythm section's just kind of there. They're not doing a ton, but it's very high-end heavy, catchy. And I love the gang vocaled chorus where they're all just kind of yelling and Alex Turner's kind of singing, but like mostly just yelling. Like it feels like music for pubs or music for restaurants in a way that a lot of the early Arctic Monkeys stuff did. They don't really make music like that anymore, and I guess I'm just feeling nostalgic for that sound right now. The lyrics to this song are also very funny and definitely worth looking up.
So I've never listened to Arctic Monkeys on purpose, and I don't know if I actually would. I don't know. I feel like I need to listen to more. But I feel like this would go perfectly in with like a playlist with The Strokes or Franz Ferdinand and kind of bands kind of like around that time. Very garage rock, very indie rock revival kind of thing. And I think I wouldn't skip it if this song came on and it was on the playlist I was listening to. It's just not. I don't know. There's just not the mood I'm in right now, as noted by my pick. It's very strange. We're in a very different world right now. But I think this is a great pick for waiting for some food. I like the visual you painted of a crappy bodega boombox with like a cat.
Well, if it's
some lunch trays.
all bodegas have cats.
all bodegas have cats. If they don't have a cat, it's not good.
Go to your local, city council and ask them to revoke the permit of your bodega if there's not a cat.
I'd love to get a Reuben and eat this and eat that and listen to the song.
Yeah, I guess I'm curious what kind of establishment you would go to that would play the Arctic Monkeys, and at the same time, what your ideal order is at said establishment.
Yeah, they gotta be like listen to some satellite radio during the early 2000s to be like, no, I want to play this in my bodega.
Yeah, I feel like this is like ham sandwich in the Northeast with a bunch of ketchup kind of song.
It's honestly like it's kind of like the crappy fish and chip shop is what I envision.
Okay, all right.
What does that even mean?
Like I'm really envisioning their environment, like Sheffield, like somewhere in the UK, kind of working class city.
Oh, okay, all right.
He wants a hopaloni and provolone or something.
For our listeners who have been to the UK, if you've ever been in like a Greasy Spoon kind of fish and chip shop, that's kind of what I'm seeing when I hear this song.
Okay.
But if we haven't been to the UK, what can we imagine?
If you haven't been, I would say imagine like somewhere between like...
Imagine going to the briny deep.
Somewhere between a Waffle House and like a New York deli, just in terms of vibe. The food is obviously very different, but similar vibe.
And now it's time for Notable B-Sides, and these were songs that were so close to being ordered, but didn't quite make it into the sack of your food. Anybody have some notable B-sides this week?
I had a few. I had a couple that were closer to what Tyler was thinking. So I had No Going Back by Why You Know, Ethnic Majority by Nightmares on Wax, Loving Is Easy by Rex Orange County, and then I almost picked Crying in the Sunshine by Miniature Tigers.
And I have two this week that channel both of you. I have the new Tame Impala song, Borderline. It's very, very up Tyler's alley. And then the other one I have, which I just thought would be an ultimately epic song to wait for food for, is Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. There's just such a good build-up. And when you eat your sandwich, you're just like, yes! Throw your arms up, just like running out. It's sunny, you're like kind of skipping. Then you're like Tyler and you like see somebody cute across the street and you like trip and your sandwich goes flying and you kind of eat it, but you're like cute and you tumble into it and you stand right back up and grab your sandwich and you just keep running because the sun never stops shining on you.
How about the Stir Fry by Migos?
Okay.
I'll take it. That's a solid choice.
It started off by songs that have food in the title or deal with food. Although I don't think the Migos are talking about literal actual stir fry because you don't whip stir fry.
They're not.
I know they're not. Thank you. But I figured it would be okay because it was on an Apple commercial.
That does make it pretty accessible, yeah.
Okay.
You're like, and then I kind of decided just kind of go in a general direction. Some songs that I kind of just generally liked. I was like, I've been listening to Youngblood, specifically by The Naked and Famous, just inexplicably. I'm like, what if I just picked a jam that I liked? But then I think my other thought before I went to, it's like I got a little jazz to it, because that song that it pops off like a little bit, so I could dance, like I can groove a little, but not too much. And I was like, I got it. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna pick my Space Disco song.
Well, Tyler, if people want to hear more Space Disco, where can they get recommendations from you?
Just type of Space Disco wherever you want. It'll show up. You can find my design and illustration work at rudepets.club, and of course, as always, you can find me on the socials as Rude Pets Club on Instagram and or Twitter.
Sean, if people want to join your Black Keys cover band, where can they do that?
Well, there's only really one other person, kind of, so whoever you are, Greg, you know where you're at, buddy. You can find me on Instagram at TallySean.
And if you want to know more about British alternative rock from the mid-2000s, you can tweet at me at TC Olmstead. If you like what we do here at No Repeat, you can check out the playlist with all of our picks. It's on Spotify and Apple Music. And Super Deluxe Edition podcast pal Ivan compiles all of our B-sides on Spotify. Links to all of that in the show notes. And we'll be back next week with 3 more songs on another episode of No Repeat.
Hold on, I got to prepare my mouth hole.
Preparing my mouth hole.